dream about things way beyond this atmosphere. But for now, I'm here.
We just watched the second film in my series, Beyond This Atmosphere. Today, we're going to be going on set and walk through my favorite moments from the shoot, as well as talk with the DP, Tanner Jackson, about what it took to pull it off.
You're never gonna get permissions to do the things that you wanna do. Sometimes you have to go out and just do them yourself. It's probably the biggest bang for your buck to push yourself creatively. That's gonna live on the feed. Yeah. I call them devices. I always think there's like one step further to take every idea and then not to be scared of those ideas. Interacting and action.
I dream about things.
If you've ever wanted to dive into the exact process behind projects like these, I've spent over 700 hours on a series of video lessons breaking down my personal system for developing original ideas, managing projects, and running my business as an independent director. Together, we'll walk through the templates, systems, and build out a project from scratch. Everything you need to be well on your way to mastering your creative approach. It's available now, and as my first product like this, it's just one small step towards making this channel a more sustainable place to continue learning together.
With such an abstract concept, I like to ground it in something. So with this one, I was like, hey, let's shoot an elevated reality vignette. It's really one character that progresses and gains a sense of control of her environment. So in the beginning, I like to think about what are we seeing that our character is not seeing? There's no need to have, with the resources we have, to go out and do this whole story arc. Everything needs to be confined.
Yeah, and it was like within a couple hours of shooting, right? And it was one talent, one location, one time of day. It was like, how can we get as much coverage as we possibly could? And it was wild.
We had this idea, what if we started the piece with this upside down vignette, this upside down portrait of our character? How would you frame that? Like when I came to you and told you that?
I, to be honest, I had zero idea of how we were gonna get it with what we had.
This is the most ambitious shot of the entire shoot. We have the camera on, what rig is this called?
I would say that this is the Rainbow Dana Dolly rig.
This is our makeshift rig for today. The whole idea is that we have a floating glass orb coming down. You can show them this little strip of trees here. So we're gonna have the glass orb start down there at the end, and it's gonna sweep all the way over past the camera. Camera's gonna roll, and then we land upside down as a portrait on our talent. Your emotion when the camera lands on you, just like we did earlier, it's gonna be eyes closed. You're like contemplating. Okay. So this orb is flying over you. We're actually gonna hit you with some wind. Okay. So it's kind of like you're oblivious to it happening, but we see it. And so you're in your mind trying to like contemplate everything. And then you'll hold it. We finish the push, and that's like open eyes. And I even think adding in little things too, like I call them devices, or something that wouldn't normally be in reality, or something that's like one step above. So for instance, when she has the gyroscope, a lot of times I'll take that in-between moment, whether it's the bridge of uncertainty in the beginning, she's closed and there's this big dramatic moment, she could be fearful, and it made me think of the balance of a gyroscope, or like something that was really off balance. I always love the shots in movies where they'll be on something and then they'll like Dutch really hard. Such a feeling like the world's turning. Instead of the world turning, I thought it'd be really cool to put a gyroscope on her finger. I don't even think it was planned, just having that shot back on her face just implies that.
Oh yeah, we just flipped the camera because I saw like how the shadow from that gyroscope was hitting her eye, and she was looking at it, and I was like, this is so important, I think, to capture right now.
Yeah, any shadow right here. Yeah, sure. So
that you can see her expression looking into that completely flipped reality. Not only was it a beautiful shot, but I think it added contextually to the story and how she was perceiving the flipped world.
Oh my God, it's on your finger.
It's one of my favorite shots, honestly.
That's gonna live on the feed.
Yeah, that's the cover right there.
And a lot of times, you can kind of
take things to their extreme and then condense them down. Whenever I'm building out a story or even a small concept like this, I could think about, you know, where actually was she before this? Is this gyroscope an artifact of something? Is this something she found? Sometimes going ahead and answering those questions as a director can really just help you go, actually, if I have all these answers for the bigger world that she lives in, and then we put her just in this one forest space, it just checks every box and it helps us along the way.
As a DP and being able to light and shoot with VFX in mind, even though we were on a tight timeline with trying to figure out everything from the lens to the movement to who's gonna be involved, we shot listed out, all of those things planned prior to going into it. I'm able to really go in with a more confident headspace and not have to rely on trying to figure it out there.
Pre-pro to me is everything. It's probably the biggest bang for your buck, things that you can do to push yourself creatively or just artistically. I think it comes partly just through curation. So a lot of times when I'm thinking of ideas or capturing ideas, I'm just finding things that I like and just, I've always said like your style is your preference. I prefer this frame. I really like how, you know, this other artist framed this or did this portrait or did this thing. And you're really just associating a bunch of ideas. So when I'm trying to condense an idea down to something that we can bring down to earth, I'm thinking about, here's all these inspirations that I have, whether they're just portraits, whether they're frames from other commercial or film projects that I've just sourced. And then here's these other like things that I've written down maybe on my notebook where I'm like, hey, here's this cool VFX idea I had in the shower, or like, this was one step further from the last project I did. And then I kind of like, what would all these look like together? I've never seen that before. You know, well, what if it was these instead? Yeah. And I think the more clear you can get on that picture, when you go in, what do they say? Like you can't buy conviction. Action. I want you to like turn, look out, hand over the sun. Let's get freaky with it. I like when the camera moves past her, catch her face, but then keep going. Okay, walk again, but kind of look down for me. Yep, action. Look down, past the camera, yeah. Let's do that one more time. I think a huge learning thing for me in the last 5 years was realizing as a director, you really have to understand what you want going in, but also be flexible enough to be able to pivot when the time's right. But a lot of those pivots are usually small. They usually come through conversation and nuance that you couldn't have had beforehand. Going into something going, no, I really do want it to feel this way. I do want her to stand right here. I do want the motion to be this way. And like seeing that picture all the way through can really only be achieved in pre-production. And going through and storyboarding, going out the day before and wandering in the forest going, this is where we're gonna live. I think the light here is the best. You know,
yeah, and I didn't come on that with you. Yeah, like, it was wild.
Tanner, you were on a shoot too. So this is like how narrow of an angle we actually had to pull this thing off.
Yeah, and you just went to the location, got videos, kind of framed up how you wanted to get the shots, and I took that for what it was worth and, you know, told you realistically, hey, this is from the DP side, what we have access to, and this is what we can do. It's always gonna be a guessing game in some ways when you don't have all this time and money to get thrown at planning, pre-production, production, post-production, and it's a great exercise to learn how to condense, work with what you have, and execute with a very clear direction. And you knew what you wanted exactly, and so that helped me know, okay, well, this is how we can achieve that with what we got.
At the end of the day, it's really about putting that emotion on screen. What do we have at our disposal that, even from the impression filters, that anything that would help aid in kind of our artistic signature on the image?
I think with this, it was very surreal, dreamy. We wanted it to be a little bit punchy, and the time of day was interesting, right? It's like we were shooting golden hour, dusk, and then complete blue hour, like night stuff. And we were fortunate enough to have an awesome setup at our hands. I leaned into the positive impression filters, and really it's just a filter that pops in the back of the lens. And so you're going from the sensor shooting into the filter and then the lens. And I think that's kind of what the magic of those do. It's like the dreamy fall off and like the dreamy skin tones with those. Really trying to figure out how to be as minimal as possible, light our talent by using the sun and playing off of that. We were even using the sun in some of those day exteriors where we're literally just like bouncing and shaping the light naturally. And then towards the end, it's kind of that another dimension reality that feels a little bit unearthly. And we were able to pump in the lights at the end.
And action. Like a fast pullback on the Dana. Going 1, 2. That was great, guys. Let's cut that one.
We were also shooting like a lot of slow shutter stuff at the end. And I remember you were like telling me to like go up to 360 in the shutter angle. And I'm like, are you sure? Cause I just want to make sure that like we're going for the right thing. And you're like, no, like I really want to get this like crazy motion blur.
Go 360.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go like half speed on these lights.
Okay.
Ready? And go for it. Oh, sick. Yeah, there she is.
And so we shot at like, I think it was like 4 frames a second, and then went up to like 360 degrees and just like started whipping the camera around. And then we were also like whipping the 1200 and trying to like mix the two. It was like just kind of doing that dance between the light with my gaffer and then the camera and stuff. And
when you drop it down to 360 and you have this kind of low shutter effect, you know, when the light would turn off and then it would turn back on, all of a sudden you're getting these light wipes, but then a pop of her in the center too. So it kind of got this nice blend. But
and to be honest, like that was my first time ever trying that out. And so it was cool to see how that ended up working. And again, like we just had one light and it was the 1200 and then the camera and talent.
Direction, look over to the side, give me a profile, yeah. Let's cut, that's a wrap. Nice work, guys. Well done. Sometimes bigger ideas, bigger sets do require more resources, but I think on an exercise like this, just going out and shooting something and bringing people together just for the passion of filmmaking and pushing ourselves to do things that we haven't done, like, it doesn't require a lot. And you know, it is nice to have access to the 35 or, you know, the lights that we have, but like you're talking about, you know, for someone to go out, or if we were to go out with just one light source, I do think we could get similar results. I always think when doing these shoots, like, you're never gonna get permission sometimes to do the things that you wanna do. Sometimes you have to go out and just do them yourself. It's super cool, and I'm always learning from everyone too. You know, no matter who it is, any DP, I'm sure you feel the same way about every director. There are so many parts that go into holding a camera, moving a camera, like expressing an image or just an emotion on screen. And every DP, every director goes about it a different way. And so I think it's super cool just seeing like how you would frame this, like what's Tanner's take on this? It's really like, to me, it's exciting. Like that's what gets me the most excited about us taking this on, is just seeing like, oh my God, I get to step into your world a little bit and you get to step into mine. And my crazy head, like, dude, bro, just trust me. One more VFX shot, you know, trust me.
This is our first time like actually like working together, and we found some synergy in wanting to shoot something that wasn't super crazy production and wasn't this big job. And that to me was us being able to work with what we had and work with the circumstances. And it doesn't need to be the next commercial job to go out and shoot something, and it doesn't need to be this, you know, really planned out production. I think that if you're a DP and you're wanting to shoot more, it's finding directors in your area or online on social media and reaching out and just, you know, being super open to pushing the boundaries and helping bring some of their concepts or ideas to life, and just working with what you have. Just trusting in yourself to make it happen, to really push the boundaries as far as you can and give it 100%. That always comes back and repays itself later down the road. And I appreciate just all of the effort you put into creating this and making it happen, and working with me to bring it to life.
A lot of times with bigger concepts, like, it is so much more fun to do it together. And especially if your ambitions lie in the commercial or short film realm, you're gonna be working with tons of people all the time. And working together with people, just like I said earlier, being able to see how you shoot, what your creative process is like, what your prep is like, what all these things, to me, it kind of grows my world of either what's possible or, you know, oh wow, you know, Tanner, I've never thought about approaching a scene like this, or an angle, or even just lighting or subtle things, you know, problem solving. But yeah, dude, it's been a real pleasure to take this one on, and like I'm super stoked on it. Like I can't wait for the next one. This is gonna be sweet stuff.
So good. So
Anyway,
on to the next.
I'm currently working on the VFX breakdown where I pull back the curtain, we dive into the edit and show you exactly how we pulled off the VFX elements we did in this piece. In the meantime, I've developed a shot-by-shot breakdown I'm calling a framework file, full of director's notes and ideas you can use in your own projects. Follow the link below and I'll send it your way.
and just like any project, there's always something to learn from everything we do. No matter how small or how big, having these ideas and just putting them out into the world, that really is all that matters here. Like, what else are we trying to do besides push ourselves creatively and make better work? I'll catch you guys in the next one.